and welcome to Retrogaming Weekly here on the Alsatian Productions YouTube channel. My name is Jack Coburn. I'm the editor-in-chief and founder of Alsatian Productions, and today you join me in my Windows 95 Oracle VirtualBox setup for me to play the first computer game I ever got, Rally Challenge. Alright, so that was the opening sequence of one of my favorite games of all time. Rally Challenge was released in 1997 for the Windows 95 system by Silver Lightning Software, SoftKey, and The Learning Company. Basically, it took advantage of the popularity of world rallying in this era, with household names like Colin McRae, Richard Burns, Tommy Mackinnon, Didier Auriol, Juha Kankkunen, Possum Bourne being another famous example, and just the thrill of Group A rally racing at this time. Hilariously, this came out just before they switched over to the World Rally Car regulations in 1997, and I think this will go a long way to explain why I am such a rally fan, why I am such a Subaru fan, because when you were a 4-year-old kid and your father has bought this for you for Christmas, and you put it on your Windows 95 and you get to drive a car on a computer screen, and you don't have to go to an arcade and put in 25 cents, it's the nicest feeling in the world. So let's go through the main menu first. Alright, we do have multiplayer, which looks like this. So we're going to go back. That was for internet gaming at the time. Then we have options. So I'm going to turn on high detail car. And I'm going to take a look at the controller. It's keyboard, I know that. Let's do the control configuration. Okay, that all looks good. Video. Oh, these are the replays for this game. I don't know why it says that. I feel like these came with the game, because I definitely made my own replays. Let's talk about information. Okay, so let's talk about the cars. So, this is Carlos Sainz's Subaru, I believe, based on the L55 REP. Yep, that is definitely Carlos Sainz's car. Colin McRae's car at this time would say BAT on the back for British American Tobacco. And I believe this is from the 1994 Tour de Corps, if not the 95. Just based on, you know, the Tour de Corps rally plate, but also the background will give it away. So let's talk about Subarus to start with. Alright, so Subaru came up with the Impreza in 1993 and immediately got to work on building a rally car out of it. It made its debut at the 93,000 Lakes, driven by Markku Len and Ari Vatanen. Len crashed his on the second stage and never drove another World Rally again. ProDrive actually told him to just leave his overalls in the car. But Vatanen finished second behind Juha Kankkunen in the Toyota Celica, and that began the great run of Subaru Imprezas in World Rallying. Carlos Sainz was a championship contender throughout 1994, buoyed by his teammate Colin McRae, and then Sainz and McRae went toe-to-toe for the 95 title, winning it in McRae's favor. Subaru at this time was a dominant force in manufacturers' championships. I believe they won 3 or 4 in a row. I think it's 95, 96, 97. Mitsubishi won in 98. ProDrive built these cars. ProDrive is an English company run by Welshman David Richards, who partnered Ari Vatanen to the 1981 World Rally Championship title. He started ProDrive in 1984 running Rothmans-sponsored Porsches, as he had been the PR person for Rothmans at this time. Over time, he ran other projects as the BMW M3s in both touring car racing and rallying, which won the 1987 Tour de Corps in Bernard Beguin's hands. Patrick Snyers also raced a BMW M3 to great effect in the European Rally Championship at this time. If you've never seen the 1988 Manx footage of what he does in an M3, go watch it on YouTube after this video because it is just tremendous. In 1991, he got the contract from Subaru to run their legacy program in both WRC, the Asia Pacific Rally Championship, and the British Open Championship, which led Colin McRae to win 2 straight titles in a Rothmans liveried legacy, and then followed it up by helping Richard Burns' satellite team win the 93 British Open title. So let's talk about ProDrive a little more. So here's some information about it. I'll take my time and let you read it. If you want to pause it, go right on ahead. So, as you can see, this is what this looks like. The paint scheme of this car is the 555 State Express Tobacco Company, which is a smaller sub-brand of British American Tobacco, BAT, as you can see here. BAT was instrumental in running, basically paying for Subaru to do this, from 1993 up until about 2005. The Subaru paint scheme that is seen on basically every Subaru rally car and every wannabe Subaru rally car is based on this paint scheme and stayed the corporate colors for rally racing long after British American Tobacco was banned from sponsoring them. This will explain to you British American Tobacco. And while I don't endorse smoking, I really find it hard not to be like, this car looks really good in these colors. So, STI stands for Subaru Technica International. They are the performance arm of Subaru. If you ever see a Subaru WRX STI, that's what the STI stands for. Not what you think it stands for, that's what it does stand for. This just explains STI a little more for you. And ProDrive has used Pirelli tires for basically their entire rallying career. Starting in 1984, David Sutton's Ford Escort team, sponsored by Rothmans, which won the 1981 World Rally Championship, ran Pirellis, and David Richards carried that on to his run as team manager for ProDrive. So let's take a look at what Pirelli does. And like I said, if you want to just pause it here and read these, be my guest. I'm just going to now go a little faster through this. And finally, they have a nice little full motion video of the service crew doing their job. So let's take a look at that. This is probably Rally Indonesia 96, just based on how it looks. Rally Indonesia was a World Rally Championship round for 2 years, 96 and 97, but had been on the APRC, Asia Pacific Rally Championship calendar for several years, and was a major thing for Japanese manufacturers such as Subaru, Mitsubishi, not so much Toyota, but Subaru and Mitsubishi kind of kept it alive. And throughout the 90s, I would say the APRC was only second behind the WRC in terms of manufacturer popularity. The ERC, the European Rally Championship, with its 52-week calendar, no lie, it makes the ATP Tour look normal for tennis. With different point scores for every week, it felt like, based on the coefficients, had begun to fall out of favor, which it had been for some time. So this is the Subaru Impreza WRX. This is my favorite car in the game, and this will be the car we will be using for this playthrough. Let's talk about Toyota. Alright, Toyota Celica GT4. The four-wheel drive variant of the Celica came out in 1986 and began being used as a proper World Rally car by the Toyota Team Europe organization in 1988. The 1995 Toyota Celica GT4 is known not for its success on the stages, but for its ability to bend the rules. It was banned from the 1995 RAC Rally of Great Britain, and all through 1996, Toyota could not compete as a factory team after they developed a turbo restrictor bypass system using flanges and springs that opened the turbo restrictor up to 5 millimeters, which allowed the car to make more than the standard 300 brake horsepower all Group A rally cars were supposed to be under. It was first seen as an advantage when, I believe it was Didier Auriol took off from the line at a super special stage in Australia, and Tommy Mackinnon's Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution could not keep up with it. So, the FIA banned the car, which took all the points away from them for 1995, all the drivers' points, and banned them for 96. And then they came back in the middle of 97 with the new Corolla WRC car. So let's take a look at Toyota Team Europe. So here this is. And then let's look at Castrol, because Castrol was a longtime sponsor of the Toyota team, starting from about 93, all the way up to Toyota's withdrawal from rallying at the end of the 99 season. So here are some of the examples of Castrol's success. And it's nice to kind of get this simply because at this time it was really kind of a push for advertising. And then finally, we do have the Proton Wira. Now, the Proton Wira actually takes the place of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution in this game. Proton is the state car manufacturer of Malaysia. They bought the license to build Mitsubishi Lancers, and one way they were going to sell the car was through World Championship and Asia Pacific Rallying. They competed in the production car category of the World Rally and Asia Pacific Rally Championship, more commonly known as Group N. And the cars had to be pretty much stock standard except for safety features. Even the brakes, the transmissions, and the suspensions at this time were stock standard. Over time, the Group N rules changed to allow for stronger cars as two-wheel drive cars were gaining in popularity. So this car is an exact replica of a Proton Wira. It also does do a good job of filling in for the 96 Asia Pacific Mitsubishi Lancers, driven by Richard Burns, Kenneth Erickson, and Tommy Makinen. So let's take a look at what Proton is all about. Now, Petronas should come as like a well-known sponsor if you watch Formula One. Mercedes, leading the World Championship at this point of this recording in May 2026, is sponsored by Petronas, and they've sponsored in Formula One for many years, starting with Sauber back in 1996. Petronas is the state oil company of Malaysia. And let's find out more about them. And finally, let's find out about the Petronas Eon Racing Team, or PERT, which was Proton's factory team for many years, probably up until about the 2008 financial crisis, actually. Alright, with the cars taken care of, let's head to the race menu in just a second. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. And if you like racing games as much as I do, I'm trying not to make this a racing game centric channel. Please check out Sunday Driver. Of course, it's on Sundays. We're doing, at the moment, a Grand Prix Legends long playthrough. So join me in a second when we join back with the race menu. Thank you. Alright, so you join me on the race menu. There's a couple different choices. Quick Race, Arcade, Phantom Race, and Championship. We'll probably take a look at all of them. I'll probably run one stage in each thing, and then we'll do the Championship. So let's do Quick Race to start with. Of course, I'm going to pick the ProDrive Impreza to start with. Let's just run Australia. So here's what the stage description looks like. Crest and junctions. Junctions are going to be the hardest part of this. And then if we go to service area, we can make decisions on how we want to run the car. So I think what we'll probably do is soften the suspension a little bit. That should be a lot better. And then, because Australia, I feel like, is quite a quick kind of circuit, or a quick kind of stage, we'll up the boost pressure slightly as well. Alright, let's get to it. Look at that load time. Alright, so as we begin, let me describe what rally racing is, if you're not quite so sure. So, rallying is like golf.
Very fast left.
The fastest time wins. You're not really competing against other drivers per se. You're really competing against the course and how fast you can complete it than the other guys. You have a man called a co-driver and navigator, and he reads what are called pace notes, which hard left and hard right. Now each co-driver and driver combo has their own certain language. If you've ever played Common Gray, you will know Mickey Grist says things like 4 right and 5 left. But in 1997, this is what you got. Hard left, easy right, hard left again. Now one thing I don't see here is handbrake. And sometimes I feel like that could have been really well chosen. I am using a mechanical keyboard, so you will definitely hear my fingers dance across the keys, almost as if Marco Lang was dancing across the pedals. And you can obviously see why I really liked driving the Subaru in this game. I think on an old Windows 95 computer, it just looked better than the Proton and the Celica. So, I always liked driving the Subaru in the game, and now I own my own Impreza, 2002 Outback Sport. I love it very much. And if you're wondering what the pops and bangs are, that's the car's anti-lag system for the turbo to make sure it flows better, which creates backfiring. As you can see, we're averaging about 115 kilometers an hour, which seems about right for the Australian rally. New Zealand is a whole lot faster in its own way. Now as we take this jump and slide through these corners to cross the line, there it is. Alright, we did it in 2 minutes, 37 seconds, and 5/10 pretty much of a second. The fastest we went is about 193 kilometers an hour, so maybe about 110 miles an hour. Which is pretty fast for rally cars. Rally cars don't have, like, super strong high-speed gear ratios. They have really good acceleration because it's all point and squirt kind of, except on the Safari in Kenya, in which the cars will have higher gear ratios for flat out, and they can do probably about 120, 130. The fastest one of all time was the Audi Quattros in the 80s, which could do it in like 150 miles an hour. Alright, so that's quick race. Now let's do arcade mode. I can't remember what arcade mode is because, hey, when you're 4 and you just want to play, you'll just jump into quick race. So let's run the Proton Wira, or as I like to refer to it, as the Mitsubishi Lancer. We'll do Australia again. So let's see how fast we can do the stage this time. Alright, so it doesn't seem as powerful, but let me tell you, it is as powerful as the Impreza feels. Now, in real life, like I said, Group N was basically showroom stock with safety features installed, such as roll cage, 5-point harnesses, but everything else was pretty much normal in those days. The rise of Formula 2 kit cars, which were lower on the Group A total toll than the Imprezas, Lancers, and watch out for the embankments, you might just roll. Imprezas, Lancers, and Celicas at the time, they were about on equal peg as the Group N high-class turbo cars, of which this Wira does constitute one. which made for pretty good national championship rallying, especially in England at this time, which didn't use the top Group A Class A8 cars, Imprezas, Lancers, Escorts, Delta Integrales, and the like, but instead used two-wheel drive, basically front-wheel drive hatchbacks that were tuned to go faster, and these production class four-wheel drive cars. And it made for a pretty equal championship with a Mitsubishi Lancer winning the final one of these kinds of titles in 2000. I didn't think it wasn't Tokyo Bakunin who won. He won in the Renault Megane Maxi kit car in '99. I wish I could remember what that guy's name was. I really do these like background things for games somewhat unscripted. Some of the scripts I write, especially about when the games came out, but generally it's just, it feels better to just let it flow. Hence why I can't remember what the winner of the 2000 British Rally Championship's name was. I'll tell you what, if you know what it is and you want to put it in the comments, go right on ahead and I'll gladly do a deep dive into the British Championship Rally with Mobile 1 Rally Championship from Windows 98 on a future episode of Sunday Driver. Alright, so not as fast, especially because we hit the bank with it, but fast enough. I can't really tell what the difference is between Quick Race and Arcade Mode. I really just don't have a clue. But there it is. Let's do Phantom Race, which I think provides you with a ghost car. So I will pick Australia, and we'll go with the Celica this time. Alright. This looks more like what I kinda remember. I feel like I used to pick the Phantom Race, and I think I just would run myself, pretty much. Alright, so I do get a bit of a head start, I think. That's the other thing. Rally drivers get like 30 seconds to like a minute between each car, so they're not held up. And everything is basically down to the T. You can't be late. You get to each stage, you get a penalty. Servicing. By this point, servicing was beginning to become centralized, so stages would run in a loop around the service area, which was usually like a nearby county stadium or something. But it used to not be centralized, so stages would go all over like Australia, Greece, Spain, Safari, and servicing was done when the mechanics, when you had time between stages. If you had, 30 minutes before you had to get to the next stage, and your mechanics could do a gearbox change. I think the record was 7 minutes by David Southern's crew on a Audi Quattro in the Middle East in the 80s. But, yeah. It was kind of a different time. I mean, money was kind of getting into rallying, and the sport itself was beginning to change. They wanted, it was now the second most popular sport after F1 in terms of international motorsports. But, yeah. There's something to be said about the way rallying used to be in the era of, Mark II Ford Escorts, and, the Coupe des Alpes with its tight, checkpoints and everything. If you're late on the Coupe des Alpes, you got penalty points, and you never make them back up. No matter if you were the earliest man or woman on the stage. Alright, so with that, those are the 3 other game modes. Let's do the championship mode, and we'll probably make this a part 2. Alright, we're just going to fill this out with my name, Jack Coburn, and we're going to do the Pro Drive Impreza. And we're going to run computer cards for the other 10 cars. Alright, so we have the turbo boost turned up for Australia. We'll leave the tires as they are, but we'll soften the suspension. I want to put the brakes closer to the back. The car will understeer more, which is not what I want. I like an oversteery car. I like a pointy car at the front, so I'll do the brake bias as such. Alright, we have 9 stages to run. I wanted to run Australia so you could see, the different types of times and everything for the cars. So here we go. Now, of course, I would run all 10 cars when I was a child, and well, maybe a teenager when we still had her when I was 95. And I'd run, Carlos Sainz in the, in the Subaru. I'd have, Colin McRae be the other Subaru driver, of course myself. Juha Kaikkonen from Finland, who's like a 3-time World Rally Champion. Actually, might be 4-time World Rally Champion in the Toyotas. Didier Oriol, who won a World Rally Championship in the Toyotas. And then, of course, 4-time World Champion Tommi Mäkinen in the Proton Mira, or as I like to refer to them, Mitsubishi Lancers, alongside such rally-winning luminaries as Kevin Eriksson and the late Richard Burns.
Hard left.
This would actually probably be a good play group game, so look out in the future for, this game to maybe appear on a Tuesday with a play group where it's me and a bunch of friends playing. And we'll probably play it locally, but keep that in mind, because it might be exciting for you. I don't know. And of course, I live by Colin McRae's, famous mantra, when in doubt, flat out. Which is why my Subaru is going to have many bent panels. But we're doing pretty well. I'm really happy with how this is handling. And like I said, this will probably be a 2-part thing. So stay tuned for the next episode after this. We'll go from there. Alright, so thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Retro Gaming Weekly. My name is Jack Coburn, and today we were looking at my first ever racing game, probably my first ever computer game, Rally Challenge. Alright, we apparently finished 5th. I know we can do better than that, but we'll find out. See you next time. Please like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be, of course, notified with what's coming up. We do have other games, not just racing games, on this channel, so take a look, see what you like, and we'll see you next time. Bye. This has been a presentation of Alsatian Productions. Vroom!